What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're gonna talk about Pro Max. Boom! Yes, this was my reaction when I first unboxed this phone. Guys, this phone is huge. Well, I guess after using the Mini for so long time, this is also influencing how I see the Pro Max. Okay, let's start from the beginning. So in this video we're gonna talk about the good things and not so great things about this phone. And I will tell you a little bit about my thoughts after using this phone for a while. And hang on until the end of the video where I show you a good trick that makes this huge phone a little bit more easy to handle. So there's no surprise that this phone is huge. It comes with a massive 6.7-inch screen, which is bigger than the previous generation, the iPhone 11 Pro Max, which had 6.5-inch screen. We will get back to the screen later on in the video. So let's keep going and let's have a look at the overall design and the build quality. So differently from the Mini, the body of the Pro Max is made of steel rather than aluminum, and it does feel more substantial in the hand and very nice to touch. So the drawback here is the shiny finish around the frame, which does look nice, but it's a crazy fingerprint magnet. So the good part is that as it is steel, in theory it should be more resistant to drops and impacts. So we'll have to see how that translates to reality when I make a later follow-up video after using this phone for a few months. So this phone sits on the heavier side of the scale and it weighs around 226 grams, just about the same as the previous generation, the 11 Pro Max. So I'm not surprised given the huge size and the quality materials utilized in the Pro Max. So to summarize, this is a substantial device. It is big, it feels big, and it feels premium. So guys, that's enough and a lot of numbers. Let's get ready and go outside and see how it looks like. I see you in a bit. Going back to the screen, the Pro Max has a massive screen which is bigger and brighter as well, with 800 nits maximum brightness and 1200 nits for HDR content. This phone handles very well being utilized under the bright sunlight. The Pro Max comes with a 3-camera array, with one wide, one ultra wide and one telephoto lens, and there's also the addition of a LiDAR sensor. So for the wideness, we have an aperture of 1.6 with a focal length equivalent of a 26mm lens. The difference from the previous year is on the aperture, which is now 1.6 in comparison to 1.8 from the previous model. So for the ultra wide, we have an aperture of 2.4 with a focal length equivalent to a 13mm lens with a 120 degrees field of view, which means that this thing is very wide. And finally, for the telephoto, we have a 2.2 aperture with equivalent of a 65mm focal length. This one also brings some changes on the aperture configuration, as in the previous year we had a 2.4 aperture lens. So one thing that I noticed is that this phone handles dynamic range very well, meaning that even in the most challenging scenarios like shooting directly against the sunlight, the Pro Max is able to hold pretty well and you end up with a very balanced image, with a very bright but still natural colors, and with enough details in the shadows and in the dark areas of the picture. Well, those are my impressions. Of course, for people that like more technical details and in-depth tests, I do recommend to check the DxOMark website, because those guys are specialists in camera tests and comparisons. Now let's talk about battery life. I'm sure that what I am about to say, it's pretty obvious, but I will go ahead and say it anyway. The battery life in this phone is excellent. Really good. So that is achieved by the excellent software that is designed to take most advantage of the hardware. And of course, as this phone is larger, the battery is physically larger as well. So translating this to real life, during my usage, I can use this phone for almost 2 days straight in between charges. But there's a but. So this is considering the current lifestyles that we are living lately. Not going out too much, staying most of the times indoors, staying most of the time connected to Wi-Fi. This of course plays a big role on the battery longevity of this phone in between charges. Of course, battery longevity varies from user to user and their lifestyles. However, this is the phone that you can trust if you are looking for a longer battery life phone. So what are my thoughts about this phone? Well, the Pro Max is an excellent phone, and that goes without saying. The display it's amazing, it's bigger and brighter, and the battery life it's amazing. But the thing is, the very same thing that makes this phone amazing is the same thing that I call it a trade-off. Let me explain. There are some things that you need to consider when getting a huge phone like this. For example, if having to hold this with two hands is a problem for you, then you will be bothered by it. And then taking this phone out with you when you're going out, carrying in your pocket or in the bag or in your hands, you need to consider the size and the weight of this phone. However, I am willing to accept the trade-offs in order to enjoy the bigger and brighter display and the amazing battery life. So getting this phone was a conscious decision that took time for me to make. So my recommendation is, if you are thinking about getting the Pro Max and you are not coming from a bigger phone, then try going to a store and if possible hold it with your hands and try it out. Check if it would be comfortable with it and then make your purchase decision. So that's it guys, I hope you enjoyed and I see you, no just kidding. I told at the beginning of the video that I would tell you a good trick that I used to make this phone a little bit more manageable. Have a look at this. Yes, there is a way to enable a double tap at the back of the iPhone to trigger many functions. As I usually found myself having to stretch all the way up the top to access the control center, or having to use both hands to do so, I have decided to assign a shortcut to trigger the notification center with a double tap at the back. So here's how you can get it done. Jump into the settings, then scroll down to accessibility, then find the touch, then click on it and then scroll down to the end where you see an option back tap. Click on it and you'll find two options, one for the double tap and another for the triple tap. Click on it and you'll find many cool options that you can assign as a double tap on the back of the iPhone. In my case I went ahead and selected the control center for the double tap and the notifications for the triple tap. But you can go ahead and play with other options and see what works best for you. So that's it, now you can access the control center and the notifications without the hand gymnastics that you would have to do even if you were to use the reachability shortcut. Guys, that's been it, I hope you enjoyed and if you did, give a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching and I see you in the next one.